Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Debt Life with me, Chad Van Horn. Today's episode is Don't Let Holiday Shopping Put You in the Red. Tips to stay out of debt this season. Once again, my name is Chad Van Horn. I'm the attorney that's going to go through everything with you. I wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. We're almost through 2020, and we're all looking forward to a better 2021. Um, the holidays mean a lot to me. We have our holiday party coming up. It's a time for giving. It's a time for being with people that you love. I hope that you're going to be able to do it. It's going to be much different this year than it has been in past years, at least for my family, and I know many families out there. But I hope that all of you can get together. I hope everybody stays healthy. Uncle Tom, thanks for attending. You're one of my biggest fans, and I appreciate that. So let's talk about some ways that I know that everybody wants to get the new PS5 and spend thousands of dollars to show their love for people, but it has been a tough financial year for many people. So we're going to talk about ways that maybe you can budget, stay out of debt, reduce that interest that you're going to pay, and then hopefully in the new year in 2021, we'll figure out a way to become debt free. So the number one tip, the first tip I'm going to give you is create a budget for this shopping season. These stores, especially the websites, are really good at making impulse buys, making you make impulse buys. So you click on something, it follows you around on Facebook, it follows you around on Instagram, TikTok, any of the social media that you use. And all of a sudden you say, yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect for my son, my daughter, my cousin, my brother, whoever it is. And then you end up purchasing it. But it might be a little outside of your budget. So drop a simple monthly budget, see what you have saved up, and then stick to that budget. So if you have a total budget of $1,000, $500, $2,000, whatever it is, make sure that you go through everybody that you're going to purchase presents for, and that you stick to that budget, because it's sometimes very easy to say, it's Christmas, it's the holidays. These people deserve so much more, so I'm going to give, and then you go above that budget, and then once you go over, then you're unable to pay it off. And then obviously interest sets in, and then that interest will be difficult to pay off, and it could be a downward spiral from there. So set a certain dollar amount for each gift that you're going to get for somebody. There's ways that you can shop, obviously online, where you can search within a dollar amount. So make sure that you stay within that dollar amount. Everybody loves the best gifts, but if you can't afford them, they're still going to appreciate your friendship, your love. Your family will still be there for you. So make sure that you're always using things to get the best discount. I use something called Honey. I know Capital One just came out with an app where it will automatically apply discounts to your shopping cart. So make sure that you're using any discounts, any coupon codes, to make sure that you're getting the best discount that you can throughout this shopping season. That'll make your budget go even farther. If you save some money, you might have some money left over to buy a nice gift for yourself. I think we all deserve a gift for making it through this year. It's been a tough year for many people. So let's go through some of the do's and don'ts of the shopping season. I know that there's a lot of credit card offers out there, especially where they have an introductory 0% APR. Some have annual fees and whatnot. Try to avoid taking out new credit cards to buy these gifts. I know it seems easy, and you say, well, I have 6 months to pay it off. I have 12 months to pay it off. That only works if you have the disposable income in your budget to pay that off. And if you don't pay off that interest or that card before the interest kicks in, then all of the interest kicks in, which can really set you back. So make sure that even if you have those great offers, if you don't have it in your budget to pay it back, make sure that you just don't take out a new credit card, because that seems like easy money at the time, but in 2021, when the bill comes due, you got to make sure you're able to pay that off. So there's some other debt out there that you definitely got to stay away from. Payday loans. Payday loans are super high interest rate, and basically they're short-term loans. You can take out a $500 loan, end up paying back $1,000. So definitely stay away from those. There's online lenders that'll put money in your account immediately. stay away from all those, because that'll just get you into a bad spot. They take money out of your bank account immediately. It's hard to get that money back. And like I said, they're going to charge you an interest rate that is a usurious rate. And usually those type of lenders are outside of the United States laws, so you can't even sue or keep them off of you. So make sure that you stay away from all of those third parties that you can find online. Now, how do you properly use the credit cards during the season? Obviously, using a credit card by itself is not a bad thing. You can get points for it. Um, as long as you pay those credit cards off and you have a plan to pay those off, you'll be fine. Make sure you understand what your limit is on credit cards. Most credit cards will have a limit, whether it's a $500,000, $10,000 limit. Don't go over those limits. If you go over the limit, then they hit you with other fees, other costs, and they'll actually allow you to go over the limit sometimes, and they'll just charge you more. So be very, very careful of that. Be mindful of your utilization rate on your credit. That's one of the biggest things that goes into your credit score. So the percentage of credit you have available versus what you're using. And then, as I said earlier, there are some credit cards that are offering 0% or low percent interest rates for a certain period of time. Make sure you utilize those before you utilize the higher interest rate credit cards. If anybody has any credit questions or any questions about this throughout, feel free to comment. I have my VIP manager Artillis. He's overseeing this, and I also have some people from the firm that are looking out for your questions. So if you have any questions, make sure that you ask them. I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you have. Going into the new year, if you do holiday shopping, there are ways to manage your debt. Some credit card and credit companies will offer balance transfers at 0%. Make sure you look at the fine print. Sometimes they'll charge an upfront fee. I've seen up to 5%. So if you transfer a balance of $1,000, they're going to hit you with a $50 fee just to transfer that amount. So be careful with that. Always look at the fine print. Sometimes the deals look better than they actually are. Remember, these banks are in it to make money. Part of the reason that they do these low interest rate or 0% interest rate balance transfers, they assume that you're not going to pay in time, and then you get hit with all that interest, and you kind of get trapped within that, and it takes a lot of effort to get out of it. So also make sure that you're paying more than the minimum. They're relying on you to pay the minimum, because that minimum is not going to get paid off quickly. At least most of the minimum payment goes towards interest. So if you can, once again, budget it in there early, and that'll help get it paid off. Yes, Melissa, if you need to schedule a consultation, we do have an online link. We have free consultations where you meet with me directly. Go to chadvh.com, chadvh.com, and you'll get that free consultation. Cindy, yes, utilization rate, as I talked about, it's based on how much credit you have. So if you have available credit total of 10,000 and you use 2,500 of it, your utilization rate would be 25%, because you're utilizing 25% of your credit. Generally speaking, you want to stay below that 30% number. That's ideal. Obviously, if you get to 0%, that's the best. So make sure that if you have a credit, it's always good to have available credit. Just don't utilize all of it. And sometimes it's easy because like I said earlier, the PS5, the new Xbox, all these new things come out, and they're very expensive, unfortunately. And if you have family members, kids, they don't understand necessarily what $500, what $1,000 is. They just say, I want that new game. I want that very cool thing. And I know it puts a lot of pressure on people, but don't succumb to that pressure now, which will put more stress on you and your family down the road. Obviously, if there's ways that you can save up for that, that's the best way. Pay with cash, but don't fall for that easy fix of getting a new credit card that you're going to be unable to pay off. Obviously, if there's ways that you can work overtime, work side gigs, Uber delivery. If you can utilize that money for presents, that's the best way to do it, is pay cash. Just stay off those credit cards if you can. Uh, if you start getting behind on credit, make sure you reach out for help. As I said, we do free consultations all the time. Once you see yourself struggling, it's better to know your options than just to put your head in the sand, as they say. Because sometimes if you get it early enough, there are easy ways to work it out with the creditors. Obviously, if it goes further, then you could look at your different bankruptcy options, whether it's Chapter 7, which clears out the debt, Chapter 13, which gets you into an affordable payment plan, or debt settlement, where you negotiate a reasonable payment plan back with the creditors. Uh, Make sure you don't run up your credit in anticipation of filing bankruptcy as well. There are trustees. There's the U.S. trustee that oversees the process. If they see that you're running up in anticipation of filing bankruptcy, you can actually get your bankruptcy discharge denied or dismissed, which obviously is not ideal as well. Even if we go through any of these processes, there are ways to rebuild your credit. Everybody talks about 7 years, 10 years, or you'll never have credit again. We utilize something called 720creditscore.com, where it's 12 to 18 months to rebuild your credit after any of this. We got some more questions in here. Lydia, when is a good time to file before legal action is taken against me? Yeah, as soon as you find yourself struggling, that's when you want to talk to an attorney to see whether bankruptcy is the best way to go, or whether there's other options out there for you. Like I said, there's many different ways to deal with this. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel obligated. If you know that you're in a bad financial situation now, don't make it worse by running it up right before the holiday season. It might be a good time to have an honest conversation with your loved ones and just let them know, hey, we're not in the best financial situation right now. Here's what the plan is. We're going to set a limit on what we're going to spend on gifts. The most important thing, obviously, is being with family, friends, and making sure everybody's healthy during these crazy times. Um, Lexi, can I choose what credit cards I'd like to keep? I assume that's going through bankruptcy. You actually don't get to choose. You don't get to pick and choose. If you do debt negotiation, you can actually choose which ones you want to stay current on. Sonia, if you took out a Best Buy card before the holidays and filed bankruptcy, will you lose the items that you purchased? So if you take out a Best Buy card, you buy something, then file bankruptcy. Best Buy actually will have a secured interest on that credit card. It's a purchase money security interest. So you would still owe that amount. So if you buy something with a credit card, then you file, you might not lose those items, but you would actually have to pay the debt back. Annalie, if you have a cosigner on a loan, what happens to them if you file bankruptcy? The cosigner is still obligated for 100% of that debt. In Florida, we actually have something called joint and several liability, meaning everybody that is an obligee on that loan owes 100% of the debt. Obviously, the creditor can't collect more than 100%, but they can collect from anyone. Jonathan, your car was repoed a couple of days ago. Is there a way to get it back? Yes, there's a few ways that we can get it back. We've actually been successful in filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy, getting the car back, and working out payment plans over time. You can also redeem the car, which means pay the full amount of the vehicle and everything that's owed to it, and that'll get the vehicle back. Creditors have been really aggressive lately, so I'm doing about approximately 20 consultations a day, and probably every day I deal with a garnishment where they're either freezing your bank account, or taking a percentage of your wages, or a repossession. So be very careful. If you fall 30 days behind on your vehicle, they can actually repossess it at that point. And I'm seeing creditors, for whatever reason, are being very aggressive right now. So make sure that you're staying up to date. You're communicating with your creditors. A lot of creditors will give you a forbearance if you ask for them. They'll give you up to 90 days. Mortgage companies, obviously, over this year have given you time as well. And if you are falling behind on your debt, make sure that you prioritize. Prioritize where you live, obviously, is the most important. Second most important would be vehicle. and then after that comes the unsecured debt and credit card debt. And if you don't have the money available, obviously, you can't pay your credit cards. That's okay, but just make sure that you're coming up with a plan to deal with it, whether it's negotiating or filing bankruptcy down the road. So I appreciate all the questions coming in. During the holidays, the last thing people want to think about is debt. I realize that, focus on family, focus on your health. You don't have to go into a ton of debt just to enjoy the holidays. But just know that there are people available like me, like Van Horn Law Group, that wants to make sure that you're not stressed out about debt. You're going to figure out your way out of this at the end of this. But I really appreciate people taking the time today to listen to this. If there's any other questions, make sure you post them. This podcast is expanding. Thank you to Lorraine, Gabriella, Artillis for helping set this up. The debt life is what I live every day. So I'm hopeful that some people watching this, that you'll be able to get out of that debt life and concentrate on a debt-free living. There's just so much debt out there right now that we have to deal with, and we're here every day fighting the good fight. So thanks again for everybody watching the Debt Life podcast. If there's anything else that you need, feel free to reach out to us. Go to vanhornlawgroup.com, schedule an online appointment at chadvh.com, or give us a call at 954-637-0000. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you're celebrating. I look forward to 2020, a better 2021, and cheers, everyone.